Have you ever stopped to think about a question that seems super simple at first, but then it just gets weirder and weirder the more you think about it? Well, today we're tackling one of those. What actually makes something alive?
Okay, let's just dive right in. We all kind of know that a person is alive and a rock, well, it isn't. But what about all that weird stuff in between? The line between living and non-living can get really blurry really fast.
So think about this for a second. A snail shell can look just like a little stone, right? Totally still. But it's part of a living animal. And then you've got a car. It moves, it uses fuel for energy, but we're all pretty sure it's not alive. So what's the real difference here? To figure this out, we can't just go by one single observation. We need a set of rules, like a checklist, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to build the definitive guide to telling the living from the not-so-living.
Let's think of this like a detective story, okay? We're on the hunt for 7 key clues, 7 things that all living creatures share. This is our roadmap for solving the mystery.
All right, here it is, our official checklist. These are the 7 signs of life we're looking for: movement, growth, nutrition, which is just needing food, respiration or breathing, excretion, getting rid of waste, responding to stuff around them, and of course, reproduction. If something checks all 7 of these boxes, case closed, it's alive. So let's start the investigation.
We'll kick things off with the 2 clues that seem the most obvious: movement and growth. Now, these seem pretty straightforward, but trust me, there's a lot more going on here than you might think.
So let's circle back to that car problem. It moves, so does that check the first box? Not so fast. And this is a perfect example of why we have to be really specific. It's not just that something moves, it's how it moves that really matters.
Now this is where things get really cool. We don't usually think of plants as moving, but they absolutely do. This Drosera plant literally moves its sticky little hairs to trap insects. And the touch-me-not plant, if you touch it, its leaves fold up instantly. It just goes to show you, movement in living things isn't always about getting from point A to point B.
The second clue, growth, is way easier to see in ourselves. Just try to squeeze into clothes you wore 4 years ago. It's not going to happen, right? That's because from the moment we're born, we're constantly growing and changing. It's just a fundamental part of what it means to be alive.
Okay, so we've covered the obvious, external signs. Now we're going to dive a little deeper and look at the hidden, internal processes that keep living things ticking. These are the clues to life's inner workings.
So here's the deal. All living things need energy. Respiration is just the process of getting that energy. For us, it's breathing in oxygen. For plants, it's taking in air through these tiny little pores on their leaves called stomata. But the end goal is exactly the same: release energy to live. Now, when you're doing all this stuff, eating, breathing, growing, you're going to create some waste. It's just a fact. And just like a factory, a living body needs a way to get rid of that trash. That process is called excretion. And this is a beautiful example of that. We excrete waste through things like sweat. Well, plants do it too. These tiny droplets of water you sometimes see on blades of grass, that's the plant getting rid of excess water and minerals. It's basically plant sweat. How cool is that? We are on to our final 2 clues, and they are huge ones. These are all about how living things interact with the world around them and how they make sure that life itself continues on.
Think about what happens when you accidentally step on a thorn. You pull your foot back instantly, without even thinking about it, right? Well, that thorn is a stimulus, and your reaction is a response. All living things respond to stimuli, whether it's a plant growing towards sunlight or an animal running from a predator. This might just be the most profound clue of all. A car can't make a baby car. A rock can't make a baby rock. But living things make more of their own kind. Like the quote says, reproduction is absolutely necessary for the continuity of life. Without it, the whole show stops.
Okay, so we have our 7 clues. Now it's time to put them to the test with one final tricky case. This is where we apply everything we've just learned to solve one last puzzle. And here it is. A simple seed. It doesn't move, it doesn't seem to breathe or eat, it looks about as lifeless as a pebble. So, using our new set of rules, is it living or non-living? Well, to find the answer, we can't just look at it. We have to test it. And this slide shows an experiment designed to do exactly that, by giving some bean seeds 4 totally different environments to see if we can wake up the life inside. So here's the setup. Pot A got sun but no water.
Pot B was basically drowned in water. Pot C had nice moist soil but was kept in total darkness. And Pot D got the just right treatment, moist soil and sunlight. What do you think happened?
And here are the results. No surprises for pot A and B. No water or too much water, no growth. But look at C and D. Both pots that had moist soil germinated. The seeds started to grow. They came to life. So the conclusion here is fascinating. The seed proved it was alive by growing, but only under the right conditions. It needed just the right amount of water and access to air. And what's really surprising is that it didn't even need sunlight to get started. The life was in there all along, just waiting.
So let's put it all together. Our 7 clues are pretty clear. Living things show movement, they need food and they grow, they respire and excrete, they respond to their environment, and they reproduce. And all of this is part of a bigger cycle that, for all living things, eventually comes to an end. That's the full picture of life.
Which brings us back to our final question. Now that you have the 7 clues, and you've seen the evidence from the experiment, how would you answer? Is a seed a living thing or a non-living thing? The answer seems a lot clearer now, doesn't it? Thanks for joining me on this one.